Ultra Relics. Yes, you heard me right. They finally made it on the global. Well, the first two did. Of course, we don't have every single one that JP has at the moment. Those will be coming out later on down the line as new content gets pushed out for the global version of the game. But today, we are talking about the current Ultra Relics that are in the game, if they're good, if they're not, if you should be farming them, and what's the best team to farm them. Now, real quick, before I get any further in this video, I want to say a huge disclaimer here. I'm talking about major one is, for one, I don't understand why they lock this to level 30. Level 30 is a little bit too low. The reason why I say that is because no new player should be farming Ultra Relics. And you may be like,
What OP? Why? I can do it.
no, don't farm it. The reason why I say this is because Ultra Relics is an endless grind. This is for people that are at the end game, they don't have anything else to do, people who literally have played GS so much in the past 3 years of it being alive on the global side, where literally we have new events, and then after the new event is done, we have nothing else to do. So the only thing we have to do is stuff like Crest Palaces and Ultra Luck Trials. Well, guess what? Whenever you've done cleared every single Ultra Luck Trial and got every single Ultra Luck unit to max luck, there's no point. So then you're just left with Crest Palaces, and guess what? Crest Palaces, you may not want to farm every single day. It may not be your favorite one, so you just completely skip it. And I feel like that's where the Ultra Relics come in terms of farming. So if you're at the beginning of the game, you just started playing, you just started with Kill a Kill, or the case may be, for the love of all that is holy, do not farm Ultra Relics as a new player. Another thing, I'm not going to be explaining what an Ultra Relic is and all that. Assuming if you're watching this video, you already know what an Ultra Relic is and what they do. And the final thing that I want to say is that, mind you, whenever you're farming these Ultra Relics, I recommend you only farm one at a time. The reason why is because you can only activate one Ultra Relic effect per team. So if you put two Ultra Relics on the same team, it will literally pop up in game that the Ultra Relic effect will not happen, because you're using two on the team and only one of them can constantly be in play. If multiple could be in play at the same time, my god, dude, they would break the game. I'm going to mention this real quick, is that in multiplayer, people have been saying it doesn't work. And yes, Ultra Relics do work, but from what I've heard, it only works if the host is the one using it. So if you're playing multiplayer and you want to use an Ultra Relic, make sure you're the host for it to work. I don't know if this will change later on, but for right now, it's how it is in global. It's stupid, I know, but it is what it is. Since we got that all out of the way, let's talk about Ultra Relics, shall we? The first two Ultra Relics we got is Relic Recorder 0, if I'm not mistaken, and then the Fire Bow from the Crimson Dragon. Both of these items I think are really good starting items for Ultra Relics, especially the support item. But of the two, which one do I think's better and personally worth more of your time? I think it's possibly the Archgen item. Just because, think about it like this, a lot of people are saying they don't really like this item. If you're able to farm this high enough, this is equivalent to pretty much Rosetta's Magia Drive passive. Of course, you will need to farm this, I think, to an insane amount, or not really an insane amount, at least level 300 passive level wise, to make this worth your while, in my opinion. So if that's something that you're about, you want that action, you know what I'm saying? Then I think you absolutely do it. I've been farming it nonstop since I started streaming yesterday on YouTube, by the way. Shout out to you if you were at the stream. And I'm currently at level 100 refinement wise, but I think I'm level 30 in terms of skills. Like I said, I'll tell you guys the best teams in just a second to farm this with. Now, if you're looking more at the Fire Bow in my opinion isn't bad. A lot of people have been saying it's a trash item. I don't think it's trash. I just think that it needs a lot of work in order to make it actually good. The same thing with a lot of these Ultra Relics. That's one thing that you'll see, is that you're going to need to farm these things a lot if you actually want to make them like super broken. Its skill gives you a 50% attack up, which is not bad, but its passive is it gives you magic damage, and then I think it also increases fire damage as well. So I think this is really good in fire nuke compositions, like with Berwick and stuff like that. I think it's definitely a good item. It's not bad by any means, but out of the two, which one do I think you're going to get more use out of? I think a lot of people will get more use out of the support item than, of course, the magic item that's meant for nuking, and more so specifically to really get the most out of it. I think fire nuking is the best bet with this magic item. It's okay, but I don't think it's better than the Relic 0 at the current time of recording this. Either way though, you guys farm whichever one you want to farm. Just make sure whichever one you're getting, you're going to use it, because let me tell you, you're going to be farming for a long time. Speaking of farming, let's actually talk about how to farm these bad boys. So let's talk about Relic Recorder 0 first. This one is the one that I've played the most because I have been auto farming this non-stop pretty much ever since I streamed yesterday. And this is the one that I have the most experience with. The other one I have cleared 100%, and I farmed it for like maybe 2 or 3 runs, not too many whatsoever. And let me just tell you, either one of these teams aren't necessarily budget friendly. Like the Ultra Relics are pretty difficult stages, so you will need some pretty high-end units. And if you don't have these units, I highly recommend that you do multiplayer. More than likely, hopefully, you have at least one of these guys. And if you do, then, like I said, do multiplayer, farm it with your friends, your homies. It's going to be really nice. Cry the Azure Rock, some things that you need to know about this is that it has physical resistance and you can't crit it, okay? Another thing that it does is evasion. Tons of evasion. You have so much evasion in this fight, it's ridiculous. So, of course, the one unit that I'm going to be recommending is the unit that I know not too many people have, but hopefully some people may got her because she just came back recently, and that's Juno. Juno is the absolute queen of this fight. She has everything that you would need. She has magic damage because, of course, the boss is resistant to physical. Accuracy up, which is insane, and then, of course, damage up to just deal as much damage as possible to this boss. I know it kind of sucks that you need Juno, but literally, I think Juno is required unless you are nuking this thing. As for the support units, there's going to be 3 units that I recommend, and any combination of these 3 is really good for the team. So the first one is going to be Mako. She just came back recently. Luck 120 unit, very good. Tons of arch damage up, tons of healing up. Really good damage buffs overall, can keep the team alive, very good. The next unit I'm going to recommend is a Serpa, and she's going to be recommended pretty much for the same reason Mako is. Really good heals overall, can keep the team alive. Defense ups, very good, makes the team tankier. Defense slot that she has is insane. And the last one I'm going to recommend is Lisa. Now, Lisa is insane because if you can use Lisa and Juno together, she can make it to where Juno hits extremely. I'm talking about extremely freaking hard. I highly recommend, if you have her, to use Lisa with Juno and then one of the other 2 supports because it's going to be really freaking good for you. I highly recommend that you use it if you have it. Like I said, any combination of those 3 will be really nice. You should be fine. One thing to mention though about these support units, make sure that in their heal slots, like for example for Mako, make sure you have Light Relic 10 Cane. If you do not have this, your team probably will die. You need the extra stats and you need the extra healing because the entire team is pretty much mono light. So Light Relic 10 Cane gets a lot of benefit here. If you're using Lisa, 4-star heal, the best one in the game right now to be using on Lisa for this fight is the Nudist Beach outfit. You get this from the Kill a Kill Gacha. It's a 4-star heal. It gives you 100% freeze resist. Use it on Lisa to make sure your team doesn't get frozen. Because by the way, I don't know if I mentioned, but yeah, this stage freezes you a lot. Now finally we'll mention the final unit that will be on the team. And this unit changes depending on what you want to do, but I think you either go for consistency or more damage. And there's 3 units that I'm going to recommend here. The first one is going to be Daki. Daki is going to be insane in this. For one, he's able to buff up everybody's damage on the team because he's able to buff up light and dark. Daki also has a 5-star heal, so if you're not using Mako, you can slot in Light Relic 10 Cane for him. Another one that I'd recommend for a little bit more damage, if you don't have Daki, she's a little bit of an older unit, which is actually Sonji. Sonji is really good because on her true art, she's able to give the entire team arch damage, but not only is she able to give them arch damage, she's also able to give the entire team paralysis and freeze resistance up by 100%. I don't recommend using Sonji though, unless you're using Lisa, because you want some type of damage buff for Juno most of the time, or else the runs are going to take quite a while. But if you don't have any damage buffs on the team, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. Just know that it's not going to be as fast as people using more damage buff oriented teams. And the final unit that I'm going to recommend here is that if you don't have Newest Beach outfit and you're kind of lacking in terms of freeze resist equips, the best unit to use in this situation, in my opinion, is none other than my girl Fina. She's able to give the team 100% element resistance, so that means literally nothing can stop you guys. The only problem with Fina is that, of course, she's an older unit. She doesn't deal damage whatsoever. So those are the units that I recommend. Of course, I'm not saying these are the only units you can use. You can use other units, and if you're curious about using a certain other unit, what I recommend you guys do is look on the leaderboards in game and see what other people are using and see if a person has cleared with a specific comp or with a specific unit. Now I'll recommend you some team comps for this fight specifically, and the first one that I'm going to recommend to you is going to be the Lisa comp, which is Lisa, Aserpa, Juno, and Daki. This team comp can clear this fight extremely fast. I'm talking about probably within like a minute or so. The only way that you'll be able to clear this faster is like if you're nuking. This team comp is really good. You'll see this a lot on the leaderboards. Has everything that you need. You got the healing, you got the damage buffs, you got Juno, of course, giving you crazy stuff. Just make sure if you're using this team comp, you have Nudist Beach outfit on Lisa, and then you also have Light Relic Tin Cane on your Daki because you need that. The next team comp I'm going to recommend is, I know for a fact, an auto team comp that can work insanely well. That's the team comp I've been using to auto it in solo, which is Acerpa, Juno, Mako, and Fina. This team comp is like the tractor team comp, I want to say. These guys are slow movers, but they'll be able to clear it no problem. You can turn this baby on auto, just make sure all the other options are checked, you know, to of course be automatically used. And make sure Acerpa is on art, not true art. This team clears it really good, very smooth runs, nothing to really worry about. Like I said, this team does take a while to beat it though. It's not the fastest team, it's like a tractor comp, but it's able to auto it and you're able to go do something else while it's autoing. So I really like this team, very good stuff overall. And then the last team I'm going to recommend is another Lisa comp. This is also a very good one, very fast. And that's going to be Lisa, Sonji, Acerpa, and Juno. This team comp is very similar to the Daki one. You're going to be having a lot of stuff with this team. You're going to have Archgen, tons of support slots. So you're able to use a lot of stuff. The only thing that you would be worried about is, I think, the damage over time. You will need to be careful and make sure whatever 4-star heal you're using is actually going to be something that's able to keep the team alive, because you don't need the Nudist Beach outfit since you have Sonji on the team, because she gives you the 100% paralysis and freeze resist. But those are the team comps I recommend for this fight specifically. Now let's talk about the Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because like I said, I haven't fought this guy too much, so I don't know like tons of stuff. I don't know every single team comp that's able to be used against him. But the main thing about this fight that you need to know is that every time he's in rage mode, you need to freeze him. If you don't freeze him, your team's going to die. Also, this is a Hellfire stage, so 2% of the damage you deal will be reflected back at you. That means don't bring Vox. If you bring Vox, you gon' die. The one team comp that I use for this, like I said, I'm pretty sure there's more, but this is the one that I've been using a lot. Decelia, Acerpa, Mako, and the Ice Witch Celia. There's lots of other units that you can use in this situation if you don't want to use, either one of these. Just make sure, no matter what, you have a freeze unit and you have some unit that's able to deal damage. The reason why I'm using Decelia here is, of course, she can crit the boss and she can do the big damage. And she won't kill herself, hopefully. She's going to get kind of close, but she won't kill herself. Especially if you have True Exceed Zex on her, you shouldn't have to worry about her dying at all. Mako and Acerpa are here to, of course, give the team tons of healing and tons of art gauge. And then the last unit, Ice Witch Celia, I think is easily able to be replaced with anybody else you want to replace her with. Just make sure the unit that you are using is able to freeze the boss. And not only are they able to freeze the boss, but they're also able to lower freeze resistance. Use equips that lower freeze resistance or something else, because if you are like me and you don't have an equip that lowers freeze resistance, this is a very iffy fight. But guys, thank you all for coming out. It's been your boy OP. This video is probably going to be a little bit on the longer side compared to how my usual videos are. So I apologize for that, but there's a lot of information to cover, especially with the opening of these Ultra Relics. But I'm going to go farm these Ultra Relics some more and also probably play My Hero Academia or Counter Side while I have this baby on auto. But thank you all for coming out. It's been your boy OP. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more. And last but not least, man, don't forget to drink water.